All right, friends, welcome back for course 18 of the massive open online course for mission transition. Course 18 is focused on onboarding and support networks you'll need to capitalize on in order to make your transition success. Our objectives for today are helping you seek onboarding resources at your new employer and to successfully engage with this new network, enabling you to experience a soft landing at your new place of employment and to assimilate into your new workplace culture. Remember, we differentiated last time between acclimating and assimilating. Assimilation is our goal. Chapters 10 and 11 of Mission Transition are critical reading for you. Please pick it up and please digest these chapters, perhaps two of the more important ones in the book. Likewise, lots of resources on my website. Please take advantage of them, all of which are free. You'll find me on various social media platforms. And as always, please do this with a friend or a veteran that has successfully experienced it to leverage their lessons learned. We're still in our last chevron of the process, learning how to acclimate and assimilate to your new organization. We'll talk about paying it forward in a future course. Want to refocus you. You saw this slide in the last course. This course focuses on, again, the sequence of activities with which we will experience success at this point in our transition. So let's start with some actions to take before your arrival at your new employment. Let's assume, again, that we've successfully negotiated and formalized a role. We've closed the deal, as it were, and now we're ready to actually enter our new place of employment. Before you do so, there's a number of things you need to consider. First, revisit the research you did in preparation for your interviews, but with an eye towards your new role and the specific individuals that'll be on your team. If your prior research didn't address these items, we'll show you here in a minute, make sure before you start that you ask your new boss or your human resources representative about these things, such as your new division or team, what it does, how it supports the organization's goals, your role on that team and what customers you're going to be serving, the employee performance evaluation process, the organization's reward and recognition system, the talent model with which you're engaged and the potential career path therein, a glossary of terms that'll be used in the organization, whether or not a veteran support network exists, and the process for being assigned a mentor, and the ability for your family to participate in any and all onboarding sessions. Ideally, these are all things, friends, you would have identified early on, but if for some reason these didn't come to light, now is the time to figure that out and act accordingly with that information. Also confirm your start date, specific time, location, dress code, to whom you're going to be reporting, and their contact information. To the extent you're able to uncover any team members, do some research on them, much as we did as part of the interviewing process. And expect that you want to interact with them on LinkedIn. Complete any remaining contingency items. You might have a physical exam or drug test, other checks that we discussed earlier in one of our courses, and try to clear your plate of any major activities outside of work so you can focus within the first few weeks on the important task of acclimating to your new environment, your new role, your new team. Whereupon you do arrive at your employer, here are some things that you want to do. First, digest any of the information that was shared by human resources or your new supervisor, as we discussed on the last slide. Make sure you and your family have a crystal clear understanding of the benefits package and how to take advantage of all of its contents. When you do arrive early, stay late, ask lots of questions. Remember, we talked about being very upbeat, very positive, and being very encouraging. Be willing to engage others and keep all interactions on the upswing. Involve your family as much as you can and as much as the organization will allow. Make sure their questions get addressed. Again, they're used to being part of a broader organization in the military where they were more part of what you did on a daily basis. Consume voraciously any available intelligence regarding your new role. This is your first. It's going to set a precedence and solidify a reputation, so you want it to be a good one. Get ahead and stay ahead. Make that first assignment an absolute home run. Commit to a professional reading program and continuous improvement. There's a lot to learn about your new world. And use the best ideas to continuously improve your organization. All the courses in this whole massive open online course contain additional resources, and you'll find even more on my website. Please utilize them. Some additional actions to take upon your arrival. Establish expectations with your new boss about things such as your work schedule, your specific responsibilities, what you're going to be held accountable to metrics-wise, who you report to, if it's a matrix organization, who those multiple bosses are. Schedule formal and informal feedback discussions you're going to commit to. Put it on the calendar and follow through. Training courses, what's available and what can you participate in? Get those on the calendar, get those scheduled. What is the availability of any methodologies, SOPs, and the performance of your assigned tasks? And are you expected to apply them? If so, in what way? How does your boss like to communicate? Does he or she prefer email, phone, text, one-on-one meetings? Do they require lots of detail or just a summary? And how frequently do they want to touch base? All very tactical things, but all important things to nail down so that your new routine can become productive. Share your frustrations. Going through all of these changes, well, like any change, will be frustrating. And so what I tell you is don't bottle that up. You want to vent these things, whether it's with family, veteran peers, mentors. Worst case, get a personal journal. Write it down if you don't have those options. Leverage your new tribe, if you will. Avoid office politics, any discussion on hot topics like religion, sex, politics. And then identify yourself, self-identify as a veteran. Join at least one support network, preferably within the workplace, and for that matter, outside of the workplace. And through this network, secure a mentor that can act as a senior leader advocate within the organization, and also secure a buddy that can help kind of show you the ropes on a day-to-day basis. And so in joining a veteran support group, it's important to understand that they are going to help you. All right, veteran support groups act as a cohesive tribal society that helps mitigate the effects of any trauma. Modern societies like ours in the US, frankly, act as the exact opposite. They're hierarchical and alienating. This is different from the society in which you're coming in the military. Veteran support groups don't see you as a victim. You're not excused from fully functioning in society and in the organization you now belong to. And importantly, these groups provide the social resilience that modern US society does not. And so they enable an engagement with a cause and involvement with a community. Why that's important, and as studies have shown, when people are actively engaged in a cause, their lives have more purpose, with a resulting improvement in their mental health. People are going to feel better if they have more involvement in their communities. That's a key goal of veteran support groups, to be involved with communities. There's any number, and I'm just listing a few here, but beyond your veteran support group in your organization, these are some examples of nationwide organizations that likely have local chapters in your area, and feel free to take advantage of them. Networking. We talked about networking earlier, both identifying who the network is and how to engage with it. And as we said back then, networking becomes a lifelong task. And it's very important to pick it back up here and continue this practice throughout the remainder of your career. If you can't do this well, it's going to quickly brand you in a negative light and stunt your progression throughout the course of your career. And engaging with your network helps adjust your personal approach in the civilian world. It helps you feel like you're part of something greater than yourself, helps prevent you from feeling isolated. But in doing so, you need to make sure that approaching your what should be a growing network is done so with a purposeful and strategic approach. Your approach should bear these hallmarks. Any outreach should be mutually supportive and beneficial. Remember, we always said, started out talking about networking be a two-way street and supporting relationships that are mutually beneficial. You want to involve others purposefully. Don't randomly meet with folks as they come up. Think about this strategically. Consider future possibilities versus only focusing on the present, and consider relationship quality, not just the network size. Don't go out on apps like LinkedIn and just start making tons of friends simply so that you can say, I have 500 contacts. It's about quality over quantity, and enables professional growth. Again, this ties back into being purposeful and being strategic about your outreach. Not to manipulate others, but again, how to help yourself and help them in the process. In doing so, this will help you achieve your career goals and increase the impact you have in your organization and beyond. Here's the way to go about doing it. And I'll, as I talk you through this, I'll reference the graphic in the bottom right on the page. As you enter your new organization, you're going to be drawn to your peers, your tribe of fellow veterans. And so start with regular discussions with individuals in those veteran support groups, again, which could exist both inside or outside of the workplace. Within these groups, identify one or more mentors that understand your background, and these mentors can help connect you with other civilian employees that are likewise educated on your background. And then over time, this increasing network eases your assimilation into the new organization. Recall from our networking chart about how our targets over time should become our friendlies. Well, that's exactly the process we're talking about here, but those targets start out being the balance of the organization. Over time, and preferably sooner than later, you want to turn those targets into friendlies. Your purpose in doing so, while it's initially focused on helping you meet your goals, as you assimilate into the organization, the purpose should evolve to include two-way information sharing, with you contributing guidance and lessons learned to other newly transitioning veterans. Networking in your new world. Here's some tactics about how to go about it. Schedule networking time on your calendar. Make it part of your regular routine. Frankly, make some of your targets part of your annual goals. Over the course of the next 6-12 months, I want to get to know person ABC, or this part of the organization XYZ. Put it down, commit yourself to it, those 6-12-month goals. When you have that initially, there's nothing stopping you from having those on an ongoing basis as well. Regularly update your network and related documentation. We shared with you some tools earlier when we discussed identifying your network and engaging with a network. Continue using those tools. Vary your networking activities. Doesn't need to be the same thing over and over. Take advantage of any opportunity to interact with others. Meals, coffee, drinks, at work, not at work, when you're in an airport, lay over, grab a phone call, etc. Seize opportunities to congratulate and thank others. One thing people have every year is a birthday, and they tend to note that on their profiles online. It's a great excuse to reach out and keep in touch with these folks. Network in multiple directions, both internal and external to your workplace. All dimensions of your organizational matrix, which could be functional, by industry, by geography, what have you, up and down the hierarchy. Be proactive and generous. Again, networking being about building mutually beneficial relationships. Figure out what can benefit the other person first, rather than asking for something that might benefit you. And then finally, do what makes sense for you. Don't necessarily do things that are out of your wheelhouse or out of your comfort range. I want to revisit a couple tools that we talked about earlier in identifying our network and engaging in the network. Again, you want to continue to utilize these in whatever framework it's going to take, preferably a database, and keep these things updated. Again, over time, who are your targets today, meaning the purple dots, assuming you continue to engage them on a regular basis, should eventually become your friendlies and move closer to the center of this map. Also recognize that the slices of your network may continue to expand and grow and have different dimensions. The folks in your military relationship may begin to shrink, and the slices of the pie and other dimensions of your life may continue to grow. Just recognize that this is a living, breathing thing and will continue to expand and modify as time goes by. Your task is to keep it updated and to keep engaged with those within your network. In doing so, continue to utilize the relationship tracker that we'd identified earlier to make sure you have an ongoing record of interactions with others and to continue to hold yourself accountable for actions that come out of those interactions. Engaging with civilian business leaders. This is different than being in the military and working up the chain as it were. In networking with civilian business leaders, just a few tips for you here. Be authentic, okay? Don't try to be someone that you're not. Don't force this. Know their business chemistry. There's a new term. We're going to talk more about it in the next course, but understand their background, their personality type, and tailor your communications accordingly. Follow the platinum rule. We all know the golden rule. Well, the platinum rule is to treat others as they want to be treated. Make sure we smile, use their name, firm handshake, maintain eye contact. Same way advice that we talked about in conducting an interview. Be courteous, but not overly formal. Okay, a high value is normally placed on interacting with warmth and friendliness. Focus on working purposefully to obtain best results for you and the organization. We all understand selfless service. That's valued in the civilian world and in your organization as well. Build relationships based on mutual trust, respect, and support. This doesn't involve manipulating or playing office politics. Again, coming from the military, we understand selfless service. We understand these things. This is not that difficult to understand or apply. Just continue doing so in your new organization. Collaborate with others to solve problems, manage risk, and achieve common goals. Again, should not be something new coming from the military. Just continue to leverage those skills and approaches, and you'll do just fine. So here's your homework, friends. Secure the onboarding resources that you need that you may not have experienced to date. Digest them well ahead of time before you report for work on your first day. Identify and join veteran support groups, both inside your workplace and outside your new work environment. Engage with and maintain your new network. Use the tools that we just looked at again. Update that relationship tracker. Hold yourself accountable. Update your network organization chart and its relating database. Check out the book. As I said, the last 2 chapters are incredibly critical. You're going to see a lot more perspective in there from individuals that have successfully transitioned. You'll see additional guidance in there for those of us with greater tenure and a lot more resources that are going to successfully support your transition. So we always do, let's end with some words to the wise. Your first role in the organization solidifies a reputation. Make it a good one. Get ahead, stay ahead. Make that first assignment a success. Commit yourself to it. Continue building and maintaining your network. Consider creating your own board of advisors, which could help you in various aspects of your life. Dedicate yourself to a professional reading program. Use the best ideas to continuously improve your organization. Remember this little ditty, and this is something that I grew up with. My dad drilled into my head at a very young age. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good gets better and your better gets best. Something I encourage you to take on as well. Actively participate in one or more veteran support networks or affinity groups at your workplace and or outside your workplace. Tons of additional resources here. And again, you'll find even more on my website. These are incredibly helpful. Please take advantage of them. A subset here focused on those of us with greater tenure. As always, you can contact me via my website. And then let's end with a video here. Would like to relay to you about how this is just part of my efforts to close the civil military gap in the country, which I think is very. So
I've been asked a number of times, why did you write this book? You know, I go into a lot of detail on why mission transition specifically, but to give you some perspective, I truly think it's one of only 3 tranches of work that I'm approaching simultaneously. And it tends to parallel what I see as being the 3 main stakeholders of veteran transition. The first being the veteran and their families themselves. That's where mission transition is focused, somewhat obviously. The second are their prospective employers. These are the entities that have those jobs to which the transitioning veterans aspire. There's a necessary focus there, again, because of the civil military divide. To successfully address that, we need to approach it from both sides simultaneously. Again, the first book focused on veterans and their families, mission transition. The second book, which I'm writing in draft, focused on employers. Much as the first book is a practical guide for veterans and their families, the second book is a practical guide for employers. Because less than 2.5% of the leadership in the civilian corporate world has had any military experience, there's a need for someone to help them identify, understand who a veteran is, where can I identify them, how do I recruit them, how do I interview, hire, train, retain veterans. They're a different human capital pool than, say, someone coming out of undergrad or graduate school or an experienced employee coming off the street. These folks require a different and more nuanced approach, and the practical guide of the second book is to help individuals in these corporate entities how to do that and how to build programs that enable that within those corporate entities. The third tranche of work are, it's the government, the stakeholder group is the government that created them in the first place. And I have no ambition to restructure the government. The best I can do and the best way that I think we can approach that as folks trying to address this veteran transition conundrum is to find a way to more effectively and efficiently help veterans coming out of the service transition into their local communities all around the country. Again, the first two books would largely help with that in terms of addressing the civil military gap. What's still missing, though, is a way to enable the pooling, the effective and efficient pooling of all of the veteran services organizations that will exist in the community into which the veteran is transitioning. And that service, if I can call it that, is brought to bear by veteran collaboratives in various locales all around the country. It is a collaborative business model, if I can use that term, that successfully brings to bear all of the services of these veteran services organizations all around the country, of which there's thousands. Let's use this as a case study myself here in Greater Cincinnati. If I'm a veteran matriculating into the Greater Cincinnati area, I face the possibility of 2,500 501c3s that have the word veteran in their vision or mission statement coming and knocking on my door, or me having to go knock on their door. Being a veteran, I'm not going to do that, nor am I going to answer 2,500 knocks on my door. What I would do is if there was a single belly button, if there was a single organization to which I could go to and in process, just like I did the military, and have them take an inventory of what my needs were, be it financial, healthcare, housing, employment, you name it, then that collaborative could reach out to that representative list of 2,500, pull in that subset, that portion that is most applicable to me, provide it to me at a point, time, place that makes the most sense to me. That's going to help me as a transitioning veteran get up to speed in the community much more effectively and efficiently than had that happen otherwise. And so that's the model and the service that collaboratives bring to bear.
All right, folks, thanks for paying attention. Come on back next time, and we'll wrap up our final 3 courses and bring this thing home. Take care.